Hello everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews and to my February vlog. It's been a month since we sat down and had a chat about sewing, so I did just want to check in with you today and share with you that yes, I got almost everything done that I planned to do in January. I got the sashiko jeans done. That took a little while, but I love them now. And I finished that skirt project where I took that curved inset and set it into that long straight denim skirt. When it was just straight, I wore it literally one time. And now I've worn it so much just in the last few weeks. I love that skirt. I also finished that cardigan jacket that had the fake pockets. I turned them into real pockets. And now that jacket is a wardrobe staple too. That was a good one. So I got almost everything done that I planned to do in January. The only thing I didn't get done was what I showed you in the last vlog, these two pairs of teeny tiny but really nice quality canvas or like brushed cotton kind of pants. And I want to mash the two of those together. So I think that's the project that I'm going to start on right after you and I are finished talking here. I really like these, like they're kind of like a painter pant, carpenter pant style. And so I'm going to be opening up the side seam of this so that I can set in a panel from these pants. And this is the same technique that I used when I was upcycling jeans with my friend Jess. It's not just like setting in a strip of fabric, it's setting in like the whole side of a pair of pants so that you end up with these like kind of interesting details of like doubled up pockets. And I really like that technique that I used on the pants that I did when Jess was here. But we did so many other really fun and cool techniques in there that way of making a pair of pants bigger kind of got lost in the shuffle, but I thought it was kind of a cool technique. So I do want to try that out again. I think these two pants are the perfect place to do it. And I think those colors will be nice as we get closer to spring. So I'm excited about that project. One project that I did that I hadn't really planned on doing was I made a bathrobe out of 3 men's shirts. And do you know why? I have like one of those big fleecy, minky kind of robes. It's so warm and soft and cozy, but when I get out of the shower and put that on, within 5 minutes, I am just roasting and I'm just dying to get that thing off of my body. And it was actually this shirt that's just nice, crisp cotton that one day when I was wearing that robe, I was just like, get this thing off of me. And I put this shirt on. It just felt so much better, but I wanted it to be like longer and like actually a bathrobe. So I thought, why don't I just go get nice cotton men's shirts and put them together to make a bathrobe? So I did that. And this was really actually a fun project because, you know, anytime you're upcycling shirts, there's always interesting details in the shirts that you either want to use or end up having to use, and you kind of end up liking it. So a few things that I've never done before that just worked out so fun. One thing was the pockets. Can you see that pocket? And can you kind of see what I used to make that pocket? So that's the cuff that I just folded over, and then the pleats from the original sleeves. Those 2 sleeves just made perfect pockets. I used one part of the button placket to make a little buttoned on tab at the back of the belt so that the belt doesn't slide off. So that was fun. And I used the original like shirt tails from one of the shirts to finish off the bottom edge. So I love this robe. It's just so refreshing to put this on after a hot shower rather than putting on a huge layer of fuzzy polyester. The cotton is just so much nicer. So this video will be coming out this weekend. And I really, really wanted to make this video super beginner friendly because I'm excited to announce that my beginner's sewing course that I have mentioned is actually launching today. So I'm going to talk about my course more in a minute, but I just wanted to also tell you in January, I got together with a few of the ladies from my online membership from Catherine's Sewing Room. And there are quite a few of us that live kind of in the Vancouver area. There's little pockets of us all over the place. And I just love when members actually get together in real life. It's so, so special. So we had a little get together here in the Vancouver area. We met on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, which has so many cool little thrift stores. And we met at a coffee shop, kind of just had a chat to catch up. And then we went thrifting and to a few vintage stores, which, as soon as they put vintage in the name, it's more expensive. But we found a few treasures, and then we went for lunch, and then we went fabric shopping. It was just a really great day to spend with like-minded people. And so that's one reason why I absolutely love that online membership so much. It's just so awesome to be able to connect with people like that. I've actually made it free to join Catherine's Sewing Room now because it's where I'm hosting the course. So that is actually just working out great because now you can join Catherine's Sewing Room for free and then you can purchase the course if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just be part of the membership and part of that community, which is really, really special. So I wanted to show you some of the things I got on that day. I got a couple summer tops. This white and gray linen top, sleeveless. It's just really fresh and pretty. And one thing, I didn't have to do anything to it. It doesn't need any alteration. Like, it's just perfect as it is. But I do want to try to find some gray linen to make like just a loose pair of flowy pants to go with that for this spring and summer. I thought that would be really nice. I also got a silk camisole. Silk and paisley are just, to me, two of the prettiest descriptors you can use. I just think this is really, really nice. The straps are too long, so that's going to take a little bit of a tweak, but otherwise it fits nicely and the colors are so pretty. And if I did get gray linen pants, I think I could wear that with them as well. So that's a nice little wardrobe builder. This t-shirt I didn't buy while we were thrifting, but I saw it at one of these vintage stores. It stopped me dead in my tracks because I was like, I've got that exact same t-shirt that I thrifted for probably $5, and they were selling it at this vintage store for $50. And because it is, I guess, a cool rock concert t-shirt, it's from 2018, which doesn't to me sound that long ago, but I guess it's vintage. When I mentioned to the shop owner, like, holy smokes, I've got that t-shirt and it's $50, that's a lot. And he said, no, I've got people that buy those and resell them for a profit. So that's, I guess, another perk of thrifting is that you can make a business out of buying and selling the pieces without even upcycling. I'm not going to sell this. I'm going to probably wear it and probably just make a few little alterations to make it into something that fits me. But I think it's cool. I think that was nice. And I've got a couple jackets that I thrifted on that same day that I've been wanting to do an upcycle, like an embellishment project for. So this classic gray, like charcoal gray blazer, I think it's really a nice piece. It's a good quality piece, and so I don't really want to cut it up. But what I've been seeing that I like are like a jacket like this, which is too formal for me. Like now that I'm retired and I'm not living any kind of professional life, I don't really need a like kind of formal gray jacket or blazer. So what I've been seeing on Pinterest that I really, really like are blazers that are embellished with denim pieces, kind of mashed together with like a denim jacket. So that's why I grabbed this when I saw it at the thrift store. But now I feel bad. I don't really want to cut it up because it's kind of too good. It's too fine. I would rather have found one that had like a tear in the sleeve or something that rendered it unwearable. Then I would feel good about giving it that second life. But right now it's kind of too good as it is. So I might just redonate it somewhere else so that somebody that needs something to look professional, that somebody else could make use of it. Or I might do my denim upcycle, but do it in a way that pieces are sort of sewn on by hand and can easily be removed. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to take something that still has good life in it and make it into something trendy that's only going to be that I would wear more, but not for as long a time as this classic piece could be worn. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me know. This one, I don't feel bad about it at all. This one is sort of one of those 1970s, it's acrylic, it's not real wool, and it's not real suede, but it has that really fun, funky 70s vibe to it. And it was hanging in that same shop that was selling that t-shirt for $50. It was being sold for $5 because even though it's sort of a fun vintage piece, it really is vintage, there are holes in it. So it's got holes in the suede part and holes in the knit part. And the holes in the knit part are no big deal. Like that I could fix pretty easily. But holes in this suede or fake suede layer, that's trickier to fix, right? So I know that's why it was being sold for $5. And I know that if some optimistic upcycler didn't come along and rescue this, it would end up in a landfill, because I don't think there's that many people who don't know how to sew that would just buy this and say, oh, well, it's got holes in it. So that's where sewing skills come into things. And also like trying to just reimagine something, that's a skill in itself as well. So on that same day of thrifting with my lady friends from the sewing room, when we went to the fabric store, our social fabrics, I picked up these cute little maple leaves, and they're just an iron-on thing. And so I did wonder if I can sort of embellish this jacket with some maple leaves. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try. It might be funny, like it might be like in a kind of awkward place, like too high up on the shoulder, but I'll give it a try. Somebody had to try to rescue this jacket before it ended up in a landfill. And then one last piece that I wanted to show you, and I have shown you this one before. I thrifted this one quite a while ago, but as I'm thinking about embellished jackets, this one is coming to mind too. And I'm thinking that I might just want to embellish the heck out of this jacket. I went through my whole entire stash and I found pieces of different scrap fabrics that are like, some that are sort of sparkly, some that are embroidered. I found buttons, I found trim, I found so many different things that could go a long way to make this jacket into something that's quite a work of art or a disaster. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But I'm hoping to just be able to have fun embellishing that and turning it into something that I will feel good in, that I will wear, and that would give that more life, because it's not as timeless and classic anymore as the gray one. It definitely looks a little bit more dated, a little bit more like it just needs some new life breathed into it. So that one I feel like I have more free reign over. So I've got one more project that I want to show you that I want to do this month, and it's a little bit more advanced. I'm a little scared. I'll talk to you about that one in a second. But I want to come back to what I always say on this channel, that sewing skills are kind of essential if you want to be able to dress sustainably. I kind of think it's the same as how like basic cooking skills are essential for healthy eating. Just some basic sewing skills just make you more independent and more able to take care of the clothes in your wardrobe. Not because you need to make an entire wardrobe from scratch, but because being able to mend, alter, resize, and just rethink clothing changes everything. It changes everything about how you dress and how sustainably you're able to dress. You can make your pieces last longer. You can thrift something that isn't the right size for you and turn it into something that works for you and is so unique and beautiful. So you can repair instead of replace. And if you want to, you can make something completely from scratch and that's completely unique to you. You already know that sewing is such a practical life skill and a beautiful hobby. And these are learnable skills. They're not super mysterious and they're not reserved for just talented people. They are things that you can learn. So that's exactly why I designed this beginning sewers course. Now I know that most people that watch the vlog are not beginners, so this course might not be for you. You might want to wait because I am designing other courses down the road that build on this first course. But you might know somebody that is a beginner and wants to have some of the skills that you have. They might look at what you create and admire that, and they want to be able to do the same. I had one member of my online sewing community say that she was excited about this beginning sewers course because her daughter-in-law wants to learn to sew but lives in a different state. So she actually wants to get the course as a gift for her daughter-in-law, which is something I hadn't really thought about in terms of somebody being able to give the course as a gift. So I don't want to take too much time in this vlog to go into detail about the course. So I made a separate video for anybody that wants more information about the course and what's included in it and how to access it. But I do want to just take a second to tell you a little bit about it so that you know if it's something you're interested in or if it might interest somebody you know. So the course walks you through the foundations of sewing, like step by step, so that even if you've never sat down at a sewing machine before, you can sit down at your machine. I'll take you through all the basics and how to operate your machine, how to sew, and take you through 6 small projects that are really cute that you can feel really proud of and you actually make something that's beautiful and useful. The course is designed to take you from being unsure and overwhelmed and so frustrated to the point where you can say, you know what? Yeah, I can do this. So if you or someone you know has wanted to participate in sustainable fashion in a more hands-on way, then I invite you to click the QR code or to click the link in the description. So if you scan the QR code or click that link, it'll just take you to that next video, which will just give you more information. You don't need to make up your mind at that point. It'll just tell you a little bit more about what's involved in the course. Okay, so now let's get back to my intimidating project of what I want to make in February. I have an event to go to, a fancier event, which I will tell you more about in the days to come. But I also have in my stash this beautiful blue velvet. Now, the reason I'm only using something from my stash for this is because I gave a challenge to my online membership people. I give them a monthly challenge every month, and the February monthly challenge is No New Fabric February. Now, a few of them freaked out because they're all mad sewers and mad fabric hoarders. So I said, no, you can still indulge if you want to buy fabric, but try to make one thing from something that's already in your stash. So from fabric in your stash and a pattern or a thrifted item. And so my project for the No New Fabric February is a fancier dress out of this blue velvet. I haven't even rolled it out to see how much is on there. I hope there's enough. But I want to take a dress that I've made before to make it a little less intimidating. Like, I've never worked with velvet. And there's some different things going on when you work with velvet. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of homework, a little bit of research, and just take my time with it and make sure I end up with a good result and a beautiful dress. So I'm excited about that project. Yeah, to make it a little less intimidating, I'm going to use a pattern that I've used before. I've made this exact dress out of a black and white rayon challis. So I've already done all the fitting and all of that, but I'm going to change it a little bit because I don't want a high neck on this velvet dress. What I want to do, and I'm just going to change the one piece, just one pattern piece is all I'm changing, just the front bodice. And I'm just going to turn it from that high neck into a wrap style. So I'll just make that kind of wrap and do some pleating because I think that pleats in this velvet would just catch the light so beautifully. So that is the plan. I'm a little scared of that one because I've never worked with velvet before, but I think it'll be fun. And I like to push the envelope and make sure that I'm always learning things as well. Alrighty, so I think that wraps it up for this vlog. I want you to think about two things. If you know anybody who would benefit from my beginner sewing course, then please pass along that link. And also think about if there is a course that would be a better fit for you. Let me know in the comments if there's a course that would be a better fit for where you are in your sewing life. So I want to wish you all the best for the rest of February, and I will see you again in another vlog in March. And until then, you take care.